Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs and voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made, and the sign flashed out each morning, and the words that it was forming, and the sign said the words on the prophets are written on the subway walls, in tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
Come on, give God a praise. That's why we're here, folks. That's why we're here. Morning. So some of the folks were getting nervous when I came in this morning because I wasn't wearing a mask. So I needed to make sure everyone was good. I had one vaccine in my arm. Then I had another vaccine in my right arm. And then I got another vaccine in some place I can't tell you. And then I had a booster. So I've had so many vaccines, I'm immune to any disease ever. Not monkeypox, not nothing. So I'm good. So I just want to make sure all of you know that even when you're talking to me at the back, I'm good. Pastor, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me be here. Now, when you have traveled the world, we were joking with one of the folks last night. They said, where have you not been? And then I had to think about it for a second. But then I realized there really isn't any place that I haven't been except for Antarctica. So I'm going next year to minister to the penguins. So y'all pray for the penguins. We'll see how that goes. But in all of these years, I've been 50 years now in ministry. And I'll be 74 this year. And so I'm at this great point in life. See, I always wanted, when I was younger, to be old. I don't know why I thought that way, but I always thought I liked being with old people because they didn't care. They didn't have to care about anything. So now that I'm old, it's perfect. Now I don't have to care about anything. So for those of you that are younger, now, was that the guys that were playing last night? Was it the same guys? It's a different bunch. Okay. I was giving them a hard time last night. When I speak to you today, understand that I don't just bring 50 years of ministry to the table. It's just a tremendous amount of life that the Lord has allowed me to live. I've had 5 concussions, one just not too long ago. I've been stabbed 4 times. I've been in 3 airplane crashes. I've been shot twice. I've been thrown off of a building in New York. And I've worked with Christians for 50 years. I don't know which was more traumatic, being shot in Syria or having to work with Christians. But I've been here with you guys. So how many of you were here the last time I was here? Let me see your hand. All right, some. Okay, where were you guys last time? Should have been here. We were kidding last night because, this COVID thing, because I haven't been here, what's it been, Raymond, 3 years? Pretty close to 3 years since I've been in Singapore. And so now the church folks are starting to come back to church. I don't know why it took you so long, but in the States, everybody got used to going to church, watching online, sitting in their underwear on Sunday morning, watching. So we're glad nobody's here in their underwear this morning, but you're here, and this is good. This is good. It's nice to be back. So I will say this only because it's just true. I remember when I was a younger man, and I would see the old preachers, and I could always tell who was an old preacher if he had gravy on his tie. Now, that doesn't mean something to all of you, but you can always tell real preacher who's got gravy all over his clothes. So now, just so you know, I have gravy on this tie. So when you look at me, say, he's got gravy on his tie. Yes, I do. But I'm going to say this in a way that all of you will get this, I trust. When you are speaking, literally, almost every week of your life in a different part of the world. Now, I drive the Sunday school bus in New York City. That was my red bus in the video. I pick up the kids. We do Sunday school. Our Sunday school is 6 days a week. My day is Saturday. But then I take the night flight out on Saturday, preach somewhere on Sunday morning, and that's how the ministry is supported, literally, all over the world. So remember, every Sunday morning, I'm at a whole different place with a whole different bunch of people that don't know me, and I don't know them. And I can always tell the people that they give me the dog look. You know what the dog look is. That's when you're talking to your dog, and your dog goes, that's the dog look. So I come in on a Sunday, and you can tell the people, and they okay, here's the guest speaker. And they give me the dog look, and they go, okay, what's this guy going to say? What's he going to do? So he's been shot. He's been all these wrecks and street fights. What's he going to say? Now, this may sound a bit strange, but the minute when I drive into a parking lot, I can almost tell you before I ever walk in the doors if I would ever go back to that church. Now, how do I know that? Am I a prophet? No. There's no prophets in our ministry. It's a non-profit corporation. No prophets. I've just done this 50 years. But I'm telling you, folks, I walk in And they're giving me the dog look, but I'm giving them the dog look. I'm looking, I don't know. But maybe it's because I've lived on the street most of my life. I still live in the ghetto. Just came back from Ukraine on my second tour over there, which I may. I'll tell you about that a little later. But let me just say that when I meet somebody, it's either there or it's not. And I say this for no other reason. But thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for caring. There's something about people that have like hearts. I appreciate it. I appreciate your friendship. And I appreciate all of you guys allowing me to talk to you for a few minutes today. Sometimes I make sense. Sometimes not so much. I don't know how it's going to go today. It's too early to tell. But I'm going to give it my best. And I hope all of you know what you have here on the front row. Give God a praise for the man of God of this house. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, my friend. Yes, sir. I wish I could say that about every church that I go to every Sunday. It's not the case, but it's the case today. And I'm hoping in the couple of minutes that we have together something that the Holy Spirit will drop into your spirit. They'll connect with you. I said something in the service last night. I didn't spend much time on it, but I said I was going to believe that for some folks from last night or folks here in this service, that for some of you, this is going to be a 100-degree service. I didn't spend much time on it last night, so let me let you chew on this for just a second. Water boils at 100, okay? Not 80, not 95, not 98, not even 99. But that one last degree, when it hits 100, something happens to the water. It's still water. It's the same chemical composition, same H2O. But when the water is in the presence of the fire, just long enough, the fire by itself does something to the water. The water changes what? Not composition, but sometimes the water won't even look like it did. Call it steam, call it whatever you want it. It changes. My prayer in this service was the same as I prayed for last night, is that some of you, because some of you, I'm going to say, let me see, some of you, you're about 90 degrees. Some of you back in the cheap seats, you're good. You're good. I'm good. Some of you maybe 95, 96. Maybe some of you are 98. But my 50 years says there's some of you right here in the house. Look at me. Some of you, you're 99 degrees. And you didn't even know it. Yep. Some of you are 1 degree away from going through a metamorphosis, a change, and you're stepping in to doing something that maybe God dropped in your spirit years ago, but now, some of you, I believe, If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't say it, folks. I've done this too long. And I believe that some of you, you're going to move into that last degree that's getting ready to change you into doing some things pretty amazing. Does anybody believe that? Do you believe that? Look at the person next to you. Just slap them in the arm. Just smack them. It's kind of a New York thing. Just smack them and say, you better be ready. Just say, you better be ready. Some of you got it. Some of you got it. All right? So let's see what the day brings. Now, is this the close-up camera? That would be you. So if I want to get really into it, I can walk right into that and do a close-up. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right camera. All right, there's a couple of things back in the back. You're really not a guest speaker unless you're selling something. That's really the true test of whether you're a guest speaker. So not to be outdone by the other guest speakers. Let me show you a couple things real quick, because you'll see a lot of things as you go out the back doors. You'll see a couple of tables. Then I will be in the lounge. It's the lounge. The lounge. There'll be some books and some other things back there. So let me explain to you. Okay, right here. Right here. I got it. I didn't know. Not you. It's this guy. It's not you. Okay. You don't want any part of me, do you? You're just going to for this guy. All right. What is your name? Ben. All right, Ben. Wake up. This is it. Right here. Work with me, brother. All right. I want all of you. Is it up there? No. Oh, this is for the people still at home? This is for the people back home in their underwear? It's the underwear crowd. So I got it. Okay. As long as I know who's watching. All right. Okay. This is the first book. It's in 32 different languages. Tells how Metro has become the largest Sunday school in the world today. It's an amazing story. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. But more important than that, it will force you to look at yourself through a different set of eyes. That was the purpose of putting this book together so many years ago. We have got, right now is 250,000 kids every week in Metro Sunday School. Our goal by the end of this year is to have 300,000 a week in Sunday school. Some amazing things, Pastor and I were talking about what's going on in Africa, that governments are asking us to come and start Sunday school in their countries. There'll be so many things, and I know some of you will want to go to the website and if something makes sense. But this is the book that really started it all. Who has never read this book? Let me see your hand. You've never read the book. Hold your hand. You've never read the book. Shame on you. Where have you been? Let me see it again. Who's never read the book? Let me see your hand. You're the piano player. You have not read the book. Take your mask off. You're sure you've not read the book? You're getting nervous now, aren't you? I know you are. There's the book. Merry Christmas. All right. See, I do stuff like that just to make people nervous. Works good, though, doesn't it? I knew it would. We were joking about this book last night. It's the only hardback book that I've done. We've got a bunch of books that I've written over the years. But this was, it was kind of something I did on the plane. And it's people now have got it and are using it for like cell groups, small groups, because it's based on the American colloquialism, the 1,000-pound elephant in the room. So I thought, I'm going to get those church elephants, those things that church people don't like to talk about. So I got 50 elephants, just short little vignettes. And I thought, I'll put it together, and maybe it'll minister to somebody. Well, this thing has gone now all over the world. But it turned out perfect because it's a hardback. So if you choose to get this in your group and use it as a study guide, this will irritate people. That's what it is. It's the elephant that nobody wants to talk about. So, but it's perfect if somebody gets offended, because Christians get offended very easily. Not you guys, but the other folks. So this is perfect. So if somebody gets offended, it's a hardback. And you just hit them in the head in Jesus' name. Because if you're going to smack somebody in the head, you got to do it in Jesus' name in church. You got to make it spiritual. So has anybody here got a friend that needs to be smacked in the head? No, somebody has to be. I'm not going to bother you again. You got it once, you're good. Let's see. I just feel like maybe it's Ben. Ben, you okay over there? All right, Ben's good. All right. Anyways, we're got a bunch of stuff back there. I will sign the books if you would like me to. I think I was in Singapore because I've been coming here 20 years, so it's been a while ago, and I signed somebody's book, and then I found it on eBay. Though they took it because I've signed it, and they doubled the price. So please don't do that. If I sign your book, just keep the book. Okay? All right, what else we got? Oh, I want to see you. Ben, give me a good close-up of this. These bracelets, when I first started going to the Philippines, I was in one of the garbage dumps, and I saw one of the ladies that was looking through the garbage, and I just I was watching. She was digging through the garbage, and I asked one of our staff, I said, what are these ladies doing? He said, they would look for these glossy magazines, right? So they would get the magazines, and they would cut the magazine covers into strips about this wide, and they would wet them, roll them up into beads, and put little beads at the end, string them together, and they would sell them on the street. So I said, I want to see how they do this. So they took me to where the ladies do this, and the minute I saw them putting these together, I said, I got to take these to the States, and then I now bring them all over the world. So when you come to the table and you will see these bracelets are made by the ladies of some of our kids that go to our Sunday school, either in the garbage dump in the Philippines or in the cemetery. We do Sunday school in the cemetery. We've got about 1,000 kids that live, and you're going to see that in just a few moments. So when you see these, understand that there's no cost to these. It's whatever you want to give. We don't put a price tag on this. It's whatever you want to give. We have been able to help, I don't know how many families get their kids to go to school that are getting food for their family. So that's what these are. And I told them, I said, can you make some of them blue and yellow? Since I've been spending a lot of time in Ukraine. So they made just about, this is the first time I've had these. So our ladies just made them. So when you get one of these, understand as you wear it or give it as a gift, just remember to pray. I've spent a lot of time in that country, and we'll talk about that a little later. But so there's a lot of things back there. The T-shirts, we got kids T-shirts. These are the kids that our Sunday school kids wear. So there's a lot of things, and I'll get you out right on time so you'll get some time to hang out with us. But the most important thing you will see are these pictures. These are the pictures of some of the kids that we have committed our lives to. You will have a chance to sponsor one of our kids in the Philippines. You get a chance to one of our kids in Kenya. I told the folks last night, I'll tell you in this service, my mother was an alcoholic. She left me on a street corner when I was 12 years old. She walked away. She never came back. And I sat on that street corner for 3 days. No food, no water, until, and here's here's the backstory. So you wonder how we have 250,000 kids in Metro Sunday School every week. You want to know the backstory of that, of how it happened? Here it is. That in 1960, I was 12 years old. I've been sitting on that corner without food for 3 days until an ordinary Christian man, operative word, ordinary. He was actually going to the hospital to visit his own son who was dying of leukemia. He pulled his car over to the side of the road, walked over, he put his hand on my shoulder and just said, "Are you okay?" And I used to stutter a lot when I was little. And I tried to tell him that my mother left me and I'm just hungry. And immediately, he got me some food and water. He made some phone calls. And 5 hours later, 5 hours after this meeting on a street corner, he sponsors me. He's loading me into a church van. Makes it possible for me to go to that Sunday school camp where I heard the story of Jesus for the first time, and something happened at the camp. Listen to me. I'd never been to church in my life, had no understanding of anything about anything of God, Jesus, the Holy, nothing. But I came to this camp that the Christian man sponsored me to get to, and I heard the story of Jesus for the first time, and something happened. You understand what I'm saying? Something happened in my life. My life was put on a whole different track. And now, here we are. So, the 250,000 kids that go to Metro Sunday School every week, and people see me on television, they read the books, and rah, rah, rah. Don't look at me. Because there was one ordinary Christian man, the man that stopped to pick me up off the street. He put this whole thing into motion, folks. Because one person really can make a difference. Let me say that again. Because for some of you, you are right at 99 degrees. Right here, right now. 1 degree away from doing something that some of you would have never thought that you would ever be able to do. That's what happens in a service just like this. Just like this. When you see these, it's 42 Sing dollars a month. You can be as involved in the life of your child that you would like to sponsor. We've been taking people, we haven't done the last couple of years because of COVID, but next March, we're going to be bringing folks from Singapore to go with me to visit their sponsored child. The kid may live in the garbage dump, may live in the cemetery. You will get a chance to visit, to get to meet that child. And Pastor, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. And if you've ever wondered if a program like this, for lack of a better word, Chris, can you give me that first picture there? It was several years ago, and we were actually in the cemetery. They're in Manila. It's called the North Cemetery. And they were just packing up after Sunday school. And I noticed some of our ladies were looking at one of the little girls. So I thought, all right, so I walked over there. Give me the next picture, Chris. And this little girl, her name is Cherry Ann. This little girl was born without an anus. So once a week, they take her to a clinic. And they just take a needle and extract the waste from the week, put it in a bag, and just stick a bandage back on there. And so I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this first time just like you guys are. And you look at it, I'm thinking, what in the world? Well, it just so happened that one of the visitors that was with me, that was looking at Cherry Ann, was a nurse here in Singapore. She had already sponsored a child, was looking to sponsor another one. She's looking at this. Give me the next picture, Chris, if you will. She said, Pastor Bill, we need to take care of her. I said, I know. Because you guys, living here, and I don't say this to be unkind, but living here, it's kind of like a bubble sometimes. Not a bad thing. All of you are grateful to live in Singapore. Let me say that again, because maybe some of you don't get that. But you need to. You need to thank God every day that you live here. Yeah. I'll remind you several times today. They don't have any insurance. They don't have any way to even take their kid to get anything done. You know it. I know it. So this nurse from Singapore said, Pastor Bill, I want to sponsor Cherry Ann. I believe I know doctors. I know nurses. And I said, okay. She sponsors Cherry Ann. And within a month of seeing her there in the cemetery, it's in motion now. It's in motion. So we get her to the hospital here. We flew her from Manila here to Singapore. Give me the next picture on, if you will. But then they found out that she's got worms all inside because she lives in the cemetery. Give me the next picture. So now we got to get rid of the worms to get her prepared for the operation. And it's always something with kids that have lived that kind of life. They live in a world they did not create. And now they're stuck with it. So her mom was there. We got her mom. Mom was there praying for her. We had our prayer people from all over the world praying for Cherry Ann. This is going to be a tough operation. They were going to have to literally reconstruct her whole GI tract. This is going to be a whole different deal. So we got the people that are praying, ready to go. Give me another shot, Cherry, if you will. They had to take a big chunk of her intestines out because they had just been rotted in there. Give me another picture, Chris, please. And she made it through the operation. It was about a 10-hour operation. It was a success. We were thrilled. We knew that God was doing something amazing. Get another picture there. You have another? We got her back on the plane. It was, just come on. Yeah, give God a praise. Yeah. Do we have another picture, Chris? No? Anything? No? I think that was it. That was last. Take the picture down. I wanted you to see this because I want you to understand that when you see these there in the lounge, these aren't stock magazine pictures. This is real life today, folks. This is very personal for me. Why? You know it now, don't you? I was this kid. I was the kid that nobody wanted. I was the kid that one man made a difference in my life. So I'll be around here. Our team will be at the tables. I'll be in the lounge. We'll be here as long as we need to be to answer any questions. Thank you. Thanks, Pastor, again. Thanks. God bless you guys. It makes a difference. Thank you. Thank you. We will see you after the service. Get your Bibles out, please. Open your Bibles to the book of Judges, if you will. The book of Judges. Where was I? I was Atlanta, Georgia. And I was invited by the Baptists in the United States to say, come and tell us how Metro has become the largest Sunday school in the world. Tell us, can you explain it to us in our Sunday school department? Can you do it? So I had my little presentation, and I was hours, almost 5 hours, talking to the Sunday school department of the Southern Baptist Convention in the United States. Well, after 5 hours, the chairman of the meeting said, Pastor Bill, he said, could you sit here by yourself for a moment while we go and discuss what it is that you've been talking to us? I said, well, yeah, sure. He didn't know me. I've got that ADD thing. I'm not the kind of person that you can leave unattended for a lot of time, because I got to move. I'm going to go do something. Even if there's nothing to do, I'll find something to do. So I'm sitting in this conference room, and there's not much there. So but there's some file cabinets over against the wall. So I thought, well, let me go look in their drawers, so to speak. And so I'm just looking. So I'm thinking, what is this? And I found a folder that said confidential. Well, it was their fault. They shouldn't have left it there. So I'm not thinking. I sat on the table. I thought, oh, this is interesting. And then I thought, well, this really is confidential. Let me tell you what it was so you understand. It was the result of a 5-year study that the Southern Baptist Convention did, trying to figure out why people were quitting the Baptist church and why the preachers were also leaving the Baptist church. So I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. So they had 5 years of research, 5 years of study. So I thought, boy, let's see what they say. And I knew these guys were going to come back in the meeting. So I thought, I better hurry. I'm going to have to flip through this thing. So I'm flip. So, going to the back of the book. So after 5 years of research, and it was right at the beginning of COVID. So it's pretty interesting information. So I thought that the people, the congregation, I don't know what I was thinking, because I was reading this report and I thought, but here's what the report said. It said that they would go through a battle, go through a struggle, and maybe it would last a couple months or a year. And depending on the battle, maybe it was mental, maybe it was physical, maybe it was emotional, maybe it was financial, whatever battle, whatever struggle they were dealing with. But they go through the battle and they come out of it. They're good. And then maybe a year, 2, 3, something else happens, and they went through another battle. I'm thinking, okay, that's just the church people. But then as I was looking for the report, the same things that the church folk were going through was the same thing that the preachers were going through. So now it's kind of getting interesting. So I'm thinking maybe there was a different reason why the preachers, because see, in America, 1,000 preachers every month in America quit the ministry. Let me say that again, because you may want to chew on this for a minute. Every month, guys, 1,000 preachers. Now, those aren't ordained, licensed, but they're in the ministry. But they're not volunteers, but they're in the ministry. 1,000 a month close their Bible and walk away. So wasn't those 1,000 preachers men and women, young and old, if we would have lined them up and asked them, did God call you? You know, most of them would say yes. But how? So you're saying that the God who made the heavens and the earth, everything else is made in China, but the God who makes, well, it just is, who makes the heavens and the earth, and supposedly you said God called you, and now something happened, you got offended, you got what? What? I'm looking at this report. I said, there's a truth here. I just don't want to miss it. But the same battles that the folks up here were facing in their lives were the same battles that the folks out here were struggling with. And so people get a battle, they get through it, they make it, they don't. They make it, they come back, they keep going. Something else happens, and then they keep going. Now here's the hook. See if this makes sense to you guys. So, they've gotten into a battle, they come out of it, then they go into another battle, and then 6 months, a year, they come out of it, and then they come to one last battle. Now, I don't know if you guys say this in Singapore, but they say it a lot in the States. What do they say, Pastor? The straw that breaks the camel's back. You guys say that over here? Yes, okay, because there's a lot of camels here. I understand that. So they come down to this last battle, last fight, and that is what we call what? The tipping point. That last fight. And that, my friends, whether it's the people in the chairs or the people up here, the system, the response, the end result is the same for both groups of people. They come to the last fight, the last battle, and they say, I'm done. I'm out, and I'm gone. How many of us watch? I watched it for these last couple of years. How many of us have watched people that we thought were great Christians, not like mediocre, but I'm talking good Christians that just said, we're done. We're not. I watched it in New York. A lot of our younger staff left in COVID. And it was a good lesson for me, because I thought the younger folks were going to be a little bit tougher. They're not. I like the older folks. I like young people. Y'all just a bunch of sissies. That word translates, doesn't it, Pastor? It works? Yeah. I like the older folks. They got a little bit of grit, you know. I like some of you, you're thinking about retiring. Shame on you. You need to come to New York. Hang out with me. We need help. We need some old folks, some wisdom. Come up. Come on. I got a place for you. Hang out in New York. Ride my bus. Come with me. Get in a fist fight. I'm sure all of you do that in Singapore a lot, don't you? So here is this people, the church folk, and the clergy. It's the same. They come to that last, final fight, battle, and finally they said, we're done. Having said that, now look in the book of Judges, because I want to take you somewhere. I was teaching in university on this book of Judges, and I stumbled onto this text. I was walking the students through Judges, but I found this. I've read it before, but now, after looking at this Baptist report, when I'm reading this, I thought, wait a minute, hold it, Lord, don't let me miss what it is that you're saying to the church at this point. So, Judges chapter 20. Pick it up at the 14th verse. Judges, the 20th chapter, begin at the 14th verse. But the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the cities unto Gibeah to go out to battle against the children of Israel. What's happening here? Let me give you the backstory. The leadership was getting ready to pick people to fight the enemy, which is going to be a critical, pivotal battle. Let me say it again. A critical, pivotal battle. So critical, my God, that the men that were getting ready to be picked to fight in this battle, the future of the nation is in the balance. Now, looking at what the Supreme Court just talked about and made a ruling in America, and I don't expect you guys to understand American politics. Americans don't even understand American politics. I don't know how it is in Singapore, but it's probably the same. You guys got corrupt people over here too? Yeah, of course you do. So now, the future of our country, America, is kind of in the balance this year. There's some things going on geopolitically in America. It's going to, and again, that's not what the purpose of this is to talk politics. I worked with an American president for a year, so I understand American politics maybe better than most Americans. But we are in a critical spot in American history. Very critical. It's like Taiwan. Anything can happen in this Taiwan thing. I don't know what's going to happen. They don't either. It's a lot of unrest, a lot of struggles all over the world, and so many shifts. So, when we look in this 20th chapter, they are picking men to fight in a critical, pivotal battle that will define, that will determine the future of the country. Do you understand what's happening? So follow this. Go now to the 15th verse. It says, and the children of Benjamin were numbered at that time out of the cities 26,000 men that drew sword, beside the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. This is where I stopped. Something is going on here in these couple of verses, and I was going to find it. Because you understand that only 9% of the world's population is left-handed at any time when they were just keeping records. So 9% of the world's population is left-handed, but now they're finding men to fight in this battle. They got 26,000 here, and then they found 700 chosen men. Look at verse 16. Those 700 chosen men were all left-handed. What's going on? What's happening? I said, Lord, help me understand. There's a truth here for the church. Don't let us miss it. 26,000 picked to fight in the critical, pivotal battle. But out of that group, there was 700 chosen men that were all left-handed. Now, who are these guys? 700 chosen men. I'm not going to speak to you in Hebrew. I'm not going to bore you with that. But that word chosen there in that 15th verse in the Hebrew, it's chosen not like, what? How many have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's say I needed help with something. Lord knows I need a lot of help with a lot of things. But I can think we got 3, 6. If I could choose just 1 or 2 of you, all of you are very capable, I'm sure. You could come up here. You can jump up and down, and Ben will get you on TV, and everybody will be thrilled, I'm sure. Okay? But this word chosen here, it's not like me just choosing 1 or 2 of you that I need help. These 700 chosen men were chosen for a reason, a specific purpose. You with me? What do we have here? A battle. They're getting ready to fight for the future of the country. 26,000 have been picked. Then we've got 700 chosen men. Look at verse 16. That's 700 chosen men, left-handed, and every one of them could sling stones at a hair and not miss. Who in the world are these guys? Y'all better get this, folks. Slap the person next to you. Tell them you better pay attention. Smack somebody. So you better get it. Better get it. 700 men, hand-picked, chosen to fight for the future of the nation. They were left-handed. What is this? I was captivated because I've read this before, but now I'm teaching this in university. So obviously this whole narrative is now jumping off the page. I'm looking everywhere. I've got a very extensive library that I've collected over 50 years. As I said, I have an earned PhD from the University of Wales. I've got an earned PhD. It's actually a medical degree from University of Paris. I delivered a baby in a parking lot. I'm hoping there's no pregnant women here today because that probably wouldn't be good for all of us. But that's another story. So I'm reading this. I'm reading it in Hebrew. I've got 2 professors that I call from the University of Jerusalem that I can get their input. Nobody could help me. I've got all my commentaries, all the research books, the 2 professors from the University of Jerusalem. Nobody could help me find the backstory on this. Okay, one of the commentaries that I've got. It says, and they were left-handed because they were not right-handed. I write my own commentary. I could have said that myself. That's what you pay for, folks, when you get some of these books. I could not find anything. And now I'm on a mission. Now I'm on it. I am going to find out who are these 700 guys, soldiers, fighters. Who are they? So I was working on the PhD, and there's a couple of old bookshops in a couple of those little villages there in Wales. And I would go and dig up the books and send them back to New York. But now I'm on this mission. So I find this little bookshop in a village called Hay-on-Wye. It's on the Wye River there in Wales. So I don't know if you guys like this kind of stuff, so just indulge me for a minute on this story. So I walk in, and I said, and I saw this guy. The guy's behind the desk or the counter, and his head is like this. I thought he was bending over, but he wasn't. It's like he was just very, very short, like very short. So, and he's got the biggest pair of glasses I've ever seen. So I'm trying to keep myself together. I said, excuse me, sir. I said, do you have a theology department? He's got these big, huge glasses. And he goes, it's in the basement. That's okay. He said, and you're going to need this. So he gives me a flashlight. Now, this is in Wales, because you know how the British folks, you know how they were before they did everything over here. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. So They were too cheap to put on the lights in the basement, so they give you a flashlight. Got it, got it. I love this kind of stuff. The weirder, the better. I love it. So I've got my little flashlight. So I'm all caught up in this whole thing. So I'm trying to find out, is there somebody maybe in this bookshop that'll have some revelation of some sort about these 700 men? So I'm looking, and I couldn't find it. Couldn't find it from this. A couple of other things on Judges. And then I found this one volume commentary just on Judges from a preacher named White from the late 1700s, I believe. So I'm sitting down on these, they just had crates. Sitting on the crate. And I got the flashlight, and I'm kind of holding it in my mouth. So I'm flipped over for the 20th chapter, and I'm thinking maybe, and look, 14, 15, 6, and there it is. Boom! And it was like the Holy Spirit just suddenly turned on the light, and I saw it. The preacher, White, the guy that's writing this, he said, the reason why these 700 men were chosen, he said, the reason why they were left-handed is because they no longer were right-handed. Okay, hold on. Let the light come on. Let the light come on. Don't miss it. What do we have here? 700 left-handed men that used to be right-handed, but in a battle somewhere, my God, in a fight somewhere, in a struggle in life somewhere. Maybe they lost a finger. Maybe they lost a hand. Maybe they lost an arm. But see, in the old days, in the Hebrew army, like today, if mostly when any soldier, whether it's American, European, if they get wounded in battle, they're out. They're sent home, sent to the hospital, they're done. In the old days, in the Hebrew army, if they got wounded, the army gave them a choice. You can go home, or you can stay in the fight. So what do we got here? These 700 men. I'm about to slap somebody right here in Jesus' name. Y'all ready? You good? All right. You have got 700 men that used to be right-handed, got beat up in a battle, lost something on their right arm. Now, they had every reason to quit. Go home, or as they say in America, call 1-800-CRYBABY, and you can go home. These men had every reason to walk away from the fight. They did their time. They've been wounded. They've been beat up. And now they can quit. But for some strange reason, I'll let you pick that reason. Those men said, no, we're staying in the fight. We're staying in the battle. We understand our position in the fight. We understand what's at stake in our country by staying in this fight. We have every reason to quit, but we cannot quit. We are not leaving. And it says what? They could hit a hare with a stone and what? And not miss. Are you getting this? I did some research, and this will help you with the David and Goliath story. You know how these guys used to practice with the slingshots? They would take horsehair, some from the mane, some from the tail, and they would take one end of the horsehair, tie it on a tree branch, tie a stone on the other end of the hair, so the wind wouldn't. Do you know how those guys used to practice with slingshot, it does. You don't think about it until you learn it. I never knew it till I did the research. They could hit a horsehair with a slingshot and stone from 25 to 35 yards away. I can't even see a horsehair that far. Forget about hitting it with a stone. These men, God help us, these men could have went home, could have retired, could have left, but instead, they ended up becoming better left-handed than they would have ever been if they stayed right-handed. You get this? Why do you think they were chosen to fight a critical, pivotal battle? There was something in some people, something in some men, in some women, some people that understand the fight, that understand what's at stake, to understand that we are in a culture war in your country and in my country. Why did I go to Ukraine? I'm 73 years old, folks. People said, you're probably not going to make, you're not going to make it there. You're not going to make it. All right, yeah, it was tough. There's some things that I probably can't tell you because I just can't. But these 700 men could have went home, could have left, but they were better left-handed than they ever were right-handed. I'm going to give you a couple of thoughts. Just jot these down. Some of you may want to remember this. Just things that I kind of pulled out of this text, and maybe it'll be encouragement to you. Number one, write it down. If you're still right-handed, if you're right-handed, if you have not been wounded in a battle, if you've gotten beat up in battle, if life, even this COVID mess, about what it's done to you and the struggles that some of you have seen in family members, I get it, folks. But I'm telling you, if you're still right-handed, if you haven't been wounded in a battle, your time's coming. What am I saying? If you live long enough, you're going to go through battles. You understand? I have. I've been around a lot of battles. And some of you that are older, you understand exactly what I'm saying. And the battles will come and go, as in the report from the Southern Baptist. So if you're still right-handed, if you've not been wounded in a battle, have not been wounded in life, just understand your time's coming. You say, that doesn't sound like faith. Got nothing to do with anything. It's going through life and knowing that you will go through the battles and struggles. But you have a choice. You have a choice to do with it whatever you choose. I should have got some toothpaste. I was thought about it, but I didn't have time. I wanted to give every one of you a tube of toothpaste, and then you would remember me. I thought this would be perfect. See, I've always said that life is like that tube of toothpaste. You never really know what's in it until what? Until you squeeze it and something comes out of it. What comes out of it? When life squeezes you, when battles squeeze you, then, my friends, we will see what comes out of you. Don't tell me you're a person of faith. Don't tell me that you're tough. Don't tell me you're at 99 degrees or 9. No, don't do it. Because when life squeezes you, when the battle comes, then we will see what comes out of you. What you got. I say that a lot. What's in you? What's in you? Because that's the real question in the world that we live in today. Number two, Number two, when you get wounded, write it down. When you get wounded, not if you get wounded, because you will. But when you get wounded, guess what? You have two choices. Here we go. No matter what anybody tells you, here it is. When you get wounded in the battle, you got two choices. What are they? Stay or go. What do you want to do? You going to make it? What will you do? You want to compare stories at the back? I was in Germany. So, you know how German people are. You want to just smack them in the head in Jesus' name. So I'm at the back table. He heard some of the things I'd been through in life. He said, Pastor Bill, he said, I think I've had a tougher life than you. I said, really? He said, yes. I said, huh? I said, would you like to put some money on that? Because, you know, I'm trying to get money for the kids. So if somebody wants to make a bet, I'm going to go. I'm going to get it. I'm going to take your money too. So he said, yeah, go ahead. And he said, you talked about your life. Tell me a little more, and then I'll tell you about mine. So I started right at the beginning. I'm not going to bore you with all the things that I saw when my mother left me. Before then, I wrote about it on a Facebook post a couple of days ago. If you don't follow me on Facebook, you would get a chance to see that. When my home pastor committed suicide and all the other things, the 23 people that I've seen murdered in front of me. When I saw the little girl in Nigeria, when the terrorist had her by the head and he took a machete and cut her head off. Come on, folks. You want to trade stories? Go ahead. I'll meet you at the back. Let's trade stories, please. And I walked him through 50 years. Finally, he said, you know what? He said, no. He said, I said, yeah, you got the money? Yeah, I got it. I took his money. I gave it to missions, but I took that sucker's money. Don't come at me. You want to trade it? But all of us have a story, don't we? All of us have a story, you betcha. You got some years on you, you'll have stories, you'll go through battles, you'll go through struggles. I get it. I get it. And it's the people usually that you do the most for are the ones that come back and betray you, don't they? Yeah. You want to trade stories? No, you really don't, do you? I got the stories, but so some of you. When I saw, because I was brought in by the United States Army, 82nd Airborne Division, to go on this last trip for Ukraine, to work with the Ukrainian army, to talk to the little girls and their mothers in Kharkiv on the east side by the Donbass region. They said, can you just talk to the girls and their moms? Because the Russians had taken the little girls, because most of the men that could fight, you guys, they're in the army. So the old men are the only ones left in the cities. And now, I'm sitting there talking with the mothers that the Russians made them sit and watch when they raped their little girls in front of them. And if one little girl, 8-year-old Svetlana, and she was ripped to pieces. And that's all I can say. That's all I can say. And I drove 32 hours in 2 buses to take 50 of these moms and their daughters all across the country to get them to Poland border. I took them the rest of the way myself to Warsaw, to the hospital. And I was trying, I know a little bit of Ukrainian, not much, but I was trying to learn just enough with the interpreter to tell the moms and the little girls, Jesus loves you. It won't be like this the rest of your life. And how do you even say that? You tell me. And I got them to the hospital in Warsaw. And see, here's the interesting part. I'm now leaving Warsaw to go back to JFK, back to home, to New York. So I'm leaving this that I've done for these days. And as I'm leaving the hospital in Warsaw, and I saw the little girl, she was waiting at the glass. I was leaving, and she just, I told her, I said, Jesus will always be with you. No matter how bad this feels today, he will go with you. And then I land in New York, and everybody says, how was the trip? Yeah. Don't wonder, folks, why I'm like I am. I'm doing pretty good today. You caught me on a good day. So, when the battles come, you have a choice. You quit or you stay in the fight. But last, number 3, and we're done. What's the third thing? What's the third truth here? I think we've seen it in the text. I hope this makes sense, because if you decide to stay in the fight, if you decide to stay, why don't you just decide you're going to take everything that the enemy has thrown to try to get you to go. Everything that the devil will throw at you, everything that the devil wants to stake you, to stay, to quit. Yep. If you decide. That's why people, last time I got shot was in Syria. I got shot in the back by a Russian sniper at a camp in Syria. I had a bulletproof vest on. You saw the one I was wearing in the video. And it was a .308. It caught me here. It didn't go all the way through, but threw me in the ground, busted up my face, broke some ribs. The Israelis came and put me in a helicopter, took me to the hospital in Jerusalem. And the Israeli nurse, she'd been around Christians. You can tell. You can tell when Christians have been around people that have that influence. And she said, I've looked at your file. I said, yeah, okay. She said, there's a lot that's happened to you. I said, yeah, you can see it in the file. She said, how have you not quit? That's exactly the question. She said, how have you not quit? I know whom I have believed, and I'm still persuaded that he is still able to keep that which I've committed unto him against that day. See, that's why I will never retire. And that just bothers people when I say that. Oh, Pastor Bill, come and retire in Singapore. Okay. Could you see me living here? This is a great place, but he'd be have to take an offering from me about once a month, because I'd be in jail. About once a month, because I'd be preaching on the street. Yeah. This is what I will do until I'm dead. No drama. No big illustration. Just simple. Him and I were talking earlier. I should have been dead a long time ago, folks. A long time ago. There's no reason I should even be here today. But here I am. After 5 concussions, I've got a blood clot right here. About that big in the left side of my head. I shouldn't be here. Technically, I shouldn't be able to talk. But here I am. Here I am. And I will go to Africa, and I'll go back to Ukraine. Why? You know now, don't you? Yep. Yeah. I understand my place in the battle. Do you? Do you know how important you are? for the fight that we have for your nation, for my nation? Do you? Do you? Do you understand? Yeah. 700 men had every reason to go home. They got messed up in a battle. But they took what the enemy threw at them to try to get them to quit. And instead of saying, we're going to quit, we're going to take everything that the enemy threw at them, and it made them better than what they'd have been if they'd never been beat up. I will show you this video, and I will be finished. I was talking to Pastor about this. I thought about it last night. I didn't know if it was the right thing to show you, but I made the decision. I make the decision again now before we're done. It was a little boy in the back of his house, and the Russians had been shelling it, blew it up. But what you will see in this video, if you look carefully, that's something that the Ukrainian soldiers, they were not trained to do this. They weren't trained to do it. But a lot of them, when a little boy or a little girl is wounded or killed, and when the people are trying to save their life, you'll see in the shadow in the video, you see the soldier with his rifle. He's standing guard. They're trying to save the little boy's life. They're trying to resuscitate him. And you see the medics working on, and the soldier is just standing guard over the little boy. And I watched. The kid didn't make it. They picked him up. They put his dead body in the ambulance. But I watched the soldier walked over to the ambulance and stayed guard on the little dead boy until they drove him away. I tell you this because I lived it. I needed you to see it, but maybe some of you will understand the reason why I've done what I've done for all these years. I've tried to stand guard for a generation. That's why I'm going to Africa. That's why I'll go back to Ukraine. That's why we do what we do at Metro. We've all had many reasons for just walk away where the enemy has tried to beat us up. God's army still uses wounded soldiers. You understand? 700 men were hand-picked because they'd been beat up in a battle. So they knew what was important. They knew what was going on. Can we roll the video, please? And I'll be She was trying to explain that she just put the boy in the back room and a shell had hit the front of the house and the back of the house, and the whole thing fell in on the little one. And the rescue crews came in, they pulled him out of the rubble, laid him on the ground, and the medics are trying to resuscitate him. And then there's a soldier standing there, and you can see him. You can see in the shadow. He's holding his rifle, and he's standing over the boy while the medics are trying to save him. There's a word in Ukrainian, zasnik. It means defender. There's something about some of these guys, when there's a little boy, little girl that's been shot or killed, they stand there, and the medics are working on the kid. They're guarding. It's that zasnik. This little guy didn't make it, but still, because they were putting him in the ambulance, and he's done. But the soldier still stayed, and he stayed guard. Stand guard on this little dead boy. I've spent my whole life to been trying to be a guardian. I've been trying to stand guard to kids all over the world, trying to do the best that I can. After all these years, to stand guard. I'm trying to stand guard for those. Maybe some make it, some don't. But somebody has to stand guard. Thank you for letting me. Just for letting me stand guard. Stand watch. Somebody has to. And I'll keep on doing it for as long as I can. Thank you.